Hi, Lions. It's so good to see you. I'm really excited for today's lesson because not only are we going to learn some new sounds and new sight syllables and sight words, but we're also going to learn how to divide syllables up in words that we don't know. So this is really going to be helpful, especially when you come to really large words and you don't know how to read them. All right, so let's start first with our first phonic sound. And this says okay. It's kind of like in the word phone, elephant, graph. So you can see the PH can be at the beginning, middle, or even the end of a word. So when you see this, it says together. Your turn. Good job. Okay. Remember, this says ch, and it will only be at the end of a word. It sounds, it's a digraph. And actually, I have a list of digraphs up on the board. So I'm going to add TCH to our list of digraphs. Digraphs are when you have two or more letters together to make one sound. So this says ch, together, ch. Your turn, ch. Good job. Remember, this says I at the end of a single syllable word, like my, by. Together, I. Your turn? Good. And this one says E. When you have Y at the end of a multi-syllabic word, it says E, like family. Together, E. Your turn? E. Good. Let's practice those sounds in words. So we've got our new sound. We know when we see PH, it says F, okay? And I'm looking down. One thing I notice about all of these words or all of these syllables is they are all closed syllables. Because after every single vowel, there's at least one consonant, and it's blocking in the sound. So we know when we have a closed syllable, that vowel sound is a short vowel sound. Okay, here we go. Graph, graph. Trash, trash. Scratch, scratch. We know TCH remembers at the end of a word and it says ch. Thatch, thatch. If, stith. Fawn, fawn. It would be like in the word phonics, which is what we're doing. It's the sounds that letters make. Chast, chast. Like chastise. That is when someone's being corrected for something that they did. Shunk, shunk. Bletch, bletch. Okay? And the reason why we read some of these that sound like nonsense is because when you read words syllable by syllable, sometimes it sounds like nonsense. So we have to learn to apply our rules to be able to decode them. All right. We are going to do, we're going to read some words syllable by syllable and transform those syllables. So let me find, here's my dry erase marker. Okay, so let's take a look here. And what kind of syllable is this? Is it an open or closed syllable or a final stable? You're right, it is an open syllable type because there's nothing after the vowel. When we have an open syllable, we know it is a long vowel sound. So this A will say its name A. Here we go. Sleigh, sleigh. Good. Now what happens to this syllable when I add this letter? What type of syllable? That's right, it's a closed syllable type now because there's a consonant closing the door and the A can no longer say its name. It can only make its short sound, ah. Here we go. Slad, slad. Isn't it amazing how either adding or taking away one letter completely changes the way it sounds? Okay. Now, what what type of syllable is this? Yep, it's a closed syllable type. We know CK says K, okay? And when we have a closed syllable type, we know the vowel is a short vowel sound. So let's sound that out. Jick, jick. Very good. Now, what if I take away the digraph? Okay, CK is a digraph because it's two letters that make one sound. When I take that digraph away, what kind of syllable is it? You're right, it's an open syllable, which means the I will make a long I sound. Okay, let's read it. Jai, jai. Very good. Okay, let's look at this syllable. This is a syllable we've learned to read by sight because you'll see it in a lot of words. Okay, so kal, it's a sight syllable we know. If you didn't know that, then you would take a look and see, okay, it's a closed syllable, so I know the O is a short O sound. Now, when I take away one letter, what is it now? What type of syllable? Yes, it's an open syllable, which means this is a long O. So this says ko, ko. Very good. Last syllable transformation. Is this an open or closed syllable? You're right. It's an open syllable because there's not a consonant blocking the vowel from saying its name. So it's going to make a long I. Here we go. Nigh. Good. Now look what happens to the syllable when I add this consonant. Is it an open or closed syllable? Right. It's a closed syllable because there's a consonant blocking the vowel. So is it a long or short vowel sound? Right. It's a short vowel sound. So let's sound it. Nip, nip. Very good. We'll nip that in the bud. Okay. Now let's learn some of our sight words. I have 3 new ones. So for these, we will read, spell, read. Okay. The first one, kind. Always be kind. K-I-N-D, kind. This is one of the most important things. It has to go along with our heart power, happy, healthy hearts. Very. You are a very good reader. Very. V-E-R-Y. Very good. Find. F-I-N-D. Find. If you can read find, you can read mind, wind. Behind. See the eind, kind of like find. See how they end the same? Let's spell behind. B-E-H-I-N-D, behind. All right, the rest of our sight words, let's just read them. Only. We practice these every day because they're words that you're going to see a lot in text or that you might spell in your own writing. And we want to be automatic with them because they don't always follow our phonics rules. And we want to be able to read them by sight because you see them a lot. People. Water. Another. Should. Been. How have you been? Become. Any. Said. Their. Talking about belonging. It is their puppy. There. Talking about the location. Please put it over there. Remember, you see a location word in here. Here. That's how you can remember. This one's talking about a location. Your. Were. What. They. Have. From. Very good. Now we're going to work on our sight syllables. So those are syllables or smaller units of words that you're going to see a lot. So we want to be able to read the sight syllables that are used frequently in words automatically. And this will say axe, kind of like in accident, axe. Okay, good. And we have another sight syllable, auto. And auto actually has a meaning, and it means self, kind of like in the words automatic, autobiography. So when you see auto, this syllable, it can help you to know what a word means. So like an autobiography, well, I know a biography is a book about someone. So an autobiography means that they wrote it themselves. They wrote the biography themselves. Automatic, I think about my automatic dishwasher. It washes the dishes itself. I'm so thankful for that. Okay, so auto. Together, auto. Your turn, good. And it means self. Shun. You see this at the end of a lot of words. Addition, action. So it says shun. Okay. A lot of our math words, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, except division is S-I-O-N. But at the end, you'll see T-I-O-N at the end of a lot of words, like an addition. So it says shin. Together, shin. Your turn, shin. Very good. Okay. This syllable is scan, kind of like the word, like in the word scanner. Very good. Okay. This syllable is D. Looks like B, he, like in the words delight, decide. So D. You'll see this syllable a lot in words. All right. Let's review our other sight syllables that we already know. So this one is int, okay, kind of like an assistant, consonant, int, mod, for. Remember, this is a root word and it means in front, like forehead, which is in front of your head, okay? Fon, which means sound, like phonics is what we're doing. It's the sounds that letters represent. Sin. Remember, this means together, like synagogue, a place where people come together for worship. In, sub, micro, which remember, this means small. Est, like in biggest. Duct. Cis. Meant. Less. Sim. Scent. X. Add. Pick. Call. Ish. Here's some of our final stable syllables. I dropped my picture cue. Hold on, let me grab it. Remember, a final stable syllable is at the end of a word when there's a consonant LE, and there's lots of different final stable combinations. This one is tool, dull, bull, gull, pull, lee, and Good job. Now we're going to read some words syllable by syllable. Okay, let's take a look at this first syllable and let's look and see what type of syllable is this? Open or closed? Yes, it's a closed syllable, so we know it's going to be a short vowel sound. So let's sound that. Trav, Good. Now, let's add this other syllable, which we know is ul. So travel, travel. Good job. All right, let's do another one. So, open or closed syllable. You're right, it's open. So it's a long vowel. Ready? Stay. And then we're going to put one of our new syllable. Shin. Station. Station. Do you see why it's important we learn these commonly used syllable types by sight or automatically? Because then we can read words automatically. Okay. Is this an open or closed syllable? Right, open. So we know it's a long vowel. Ready? Fee. Now let's read the second syllable. Ver. Fever. Good job. Okay, let's try this one. Open or closed? Open, so it's a long vowel. So this will say D. Now look at the second syllable. Is this an open or closed syllable? Right, it's closed because there's a consonant after the I. So we know this is a short vowel. So let's read we know the first syllable was D. Now let's read this. Script. Now let's look at the last syllable. Shun. Description. Description. Good. So do you see how when you break a really large word up into the individual syllables, you can unlock really large multi-syllabic words? Let's do another one like that. Okay. This is a sight syllable X. Okay. And it's also a closed syllable. So we know it's a short E. Okay. Open or closed, right? It's a closed syllable. So am, am, in, am, in, examiner. Good job. Again, take a large word, break it up syllable by syllable. Let's look at one more like that. Okay. So this was one of our sight syllables, D. And if you had forgotten, you know it's an open syllable. And when you have an open syllable, it's a long vowel sound. Let's look here. Live. Okay. And remember, when you have Y at the end of a multi-syllabic word, it says E. So this would say E. D, live, E. Delivery. Good job. I am waiting for a delivery. Okay, now this next part of the lesson I'm really excited about because this is where you're going to figure out when I come to a word I don't know, how do I break it up into the individual syllables? So I'm going to teach you a rule and I'm going to teach you how to do this. Okay, so let's look here at this word, okay? Pretend I didn't know it. Here is how you figure out how to break a word up by syllable. So you have to look, or by syllables, you have to look and see where the vowels are. Let me put this on a clipboard. So I see a vowel here, and I see a vowel here, okay? So because the vowels are not together, they're apart, okay? You know how many syllables are in a word depending on how many vowels there are, okay? Unless the vowels are paired together, all right? So when vowels are separated by consonants, then you know you have more than one syllable. Okay, just like every word has a vowel, every syllable has to have a vowel as well. So I have identified the vowels in this word. So I know this word has 2 different syllables. Now we have to figure out where do we divide it. And when we've got 1, 2 consonants between the syllables. Whenever you have 2 consonants between 2 vowels, you split them in the middle. It's like you're splitting up the pair, okay? So now I know this word is 2 syllables because our vowels were not together. And I can split a syllable between 2 consonants. When you have 2 consonants, you split them, okay? So now the first syllable is this, and this is the second syllable. So if I didn't know this word, now I could apply my rules, and I know the first syllable is a closed syllable. So that A is going to make a short A sound. And we know is one of our sight syllables. So we have after. Good. We're going to keep working on this, okay? And you'll become automatic with it. I know today it's new. So hang in here with me if you're not getting it right away. We're going to practice this every day, and you will become automatic with it. All right, so when we come to a word we don't know, remember the first thing is identify where the vowels are. So I see a vowel here, and I see a vowel over here. All right, the vowels are not together. They're being separated by consonants, okay? And the reason why that's important, because sometimes you're going to see vowels right next to each other. And when that happens, then they're usually a vowel team. They're in a team together. But when you have vowels that are separated by consonants, okay, then they're not meant to be together. So when I look at this word, I now know this is a 2-syllable word because our vowels are here and here. They're not together. And remember what we said, where you decide where to break it is you split up the consonants. So I'm going to split up these 2 S's, just like that. And so if I didn't know this word, I would now see that I have 2 closed syllables, and then I can apply my rules of the syllable types to decode it. So lesson. Good. Let's try another one. Now, I have digraphs up on the board because there are always exceptions to rules, okay? We'll be talking about that too. So what's our first rule when figuring out how to break a word into syllables is you identify where are the vowels. So I've got a vowel here. I've got a vowel here. Because the vowels are separated by consonants, then I know I'm not going to keep those together. So this word has 1, 2 syllables. Because just like every word has to have a vowel, every syllable has to have a vowel. Okay? And so where am I going to break it up? Remember when I said you have 2 or more consonants together, you split them. You split it down the middle. So I'm going to split this here. And then we've got a closed syllable and a closed syllable. So 2 short vowel sounds. So now I can read this larger word. Basket. Good. Now, there is an exception. The only time that you are not going to split 2 consonants that are between vowels is if they're digraphs. Remember, digraphs are 2 or more letters that make one sound. Okay? Like sh, ch, th, or the, w, f, k, r, ch. So when you see digraphs between 2 vowels, you don't split those up. So that's one of our exceptions. All right, let's look here. So remember, our first rule is to find the vowels. Here's one of the vowels. Here's the other. The vowels are not together. So we know we're not going to keep them together. They're separated by consonants. So we know this word, because the vowels are not together, has two syllables. Because every word, just like every word, every syllable has to have a vowel. Okay, so when I'm looking here, remember, what's our rule? What do we do to the two consonants? That's right, we split them up. We're not going to keep them together anymore, unless they are a digraph, okay? So now when we look, we see we have a closed syllable here, and we have the sight syllable that we learned earlier. So hammer, hammer. Good job. Let's do another one. See, each time it gets a little bit easier. So our first rule for dividing a word up into syllables is identify the vowels. I've got a vowel here and a vowel here. The vowels are not together, okay? So we know we have, this word has two syllables. And we look where the vowels are, and I see a consonant, consonant. Remember, we split the consonants unless it's a digraph, okay? So it's not a digraph, so I'm going to go ahead and split here. So we've got plastic, plastic. Good. Now we're going to take a look at this one, okay? So identify the vowels where they are. There's a vowel here and a vowel here, okay? And so far, all the words we looked at only had two consonants, but we've got 1, 2, 3 consonants. So let's think about this. Do we see BT together a lot, or do we see TR together a lot? Okay, yeah, we don't see BT together frequently. Sometimes it's together, but we do see TR together, like truck, track, trick, trot. So we know when we have two vowels that are not near each other, okay, then they're going to be separated. And we know this word now has two syllables because every syllable has a vowel in it. So there's one syllable and there's another one over here. So when we're trying to decide, remember, when you have more than one consonant between the vowels, you're going to divide it in the middle. Now, since this one doesn't have just two consonants, we had to decide where it made more sense to keep the B and T together or the T and R. And we do see T and R together most of the time, okay? So subtract, subtract. All right, we will keep practicing this. This is a really important thing to learn as a reader, because when you come to really large multisyllabic words, you have to know how to divide them up to then decide what kind of syllable am I looking at. Because when you know the rules for the syllable types, then you'll be able to decode the word syllable by syllable. So we're going to keep practicing. This was just the first day and just a start. So we're going to become experts at it. So stick with it, okay? And I will see you right back here tomorrow. We'll continue learning about sight syllables, different phonic spellings and sight words, and how to divide multisyllabic words up syllable by syllable. This will help us to be expert readers and expert spellers. All right, Lions, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye.